What was Bisping your first choice of a fight, or were there other options that were kind of put before you and you chose Bisping?
I wanted to fight Tyron Woodley at one time, but he got scheduled to fight Wonderboy. Even Tyron put some text message between. I don't know why he put the text message between me and I talking, because he texted me, said, would you fight me? I said, yes, I would fight you. But then he put it in public, and people were like criticizing, oh, yeah, they tried to make up a fight. They friend. I'm like, I'm not friend. We just, he asked me, he had my number. He asked me if I want to fight him. I said, yeah, I would fight him. But then it didn't work out. Wonderboy is a friend of mine, good friend of mine. He stepped in and he had the fight, so I was very happy for him, and I thought it was a great opportunity. So I said, you know what, he's going for a welterweight title. I'm going to go for a middleweight title.
What did you think of the Woodley Thompson fight? It was a bit of a controversial decision. People kind of split down the middle how they felt it went. What did you think?
So where I was, we were six guys watching the fight. We all thought Wonderboy won 3 of the 5 rounds. But the round that have been win the more decisively is the one that Tyron Woodley won. So it could go either way, the way, depend the way you see it. For sure, Wonderboy is a friend of mine, so I see every round, when it goes decision, I see every round like a new fight. Every round is like a fight. I believe Wonderboy won 3 fights in 3 of those 5 fights. But the one that Tyron Woodley won was very decisive.
Yeah, and also I think the other round he won is when he had him on the ground too. So any damage inflicted seemed to be done by Woodley.
Yes, exactly.
But how's things, man? I'm so excited, as is everybody, that you're coming back, man.
Yeah, I'm very happy. Finally, the discussion, the negotiation works well, and I'm very happy.
What made you want to come back at middleweight? Just an easier cut, or did you want to fight sooner than Tyron Woodley would have been able to?
Well, look, the truth is this, okay? When we first started the negotiation, Wonderboy was already scheduled to fight Woodley, and it's actually John Danaher that make me think of it. He says, why don't you go against Michael Bisping? It's now you have time to gain weight, and it's a new challenge. Wonderboy is your friend. He's fighting Woodley. As it was a perfect opportunity, and I saw it as a good opportunity because I want to make history. I wanted to do something that at that time never been done. I wanted to get the 2 titles. And then after, the discussion started to fight Bisping in Canada. And during that time, Wonderboy and Woodley fought. They made a draw, so they had to fight again. So that's why I'm fighting Bisping, and he's a guy to beat. He's a guy who's the stocks is the highest right now. He's the biggest draw right now.
And you've been out for a little over 3 years, since I think November of 2013. What kind of sparked your decision to come back? And were any health issues that kept you out, have they been resolved?
No, the thing is, I always wanted to come back. It was the back of my head. I was not happy the way the sport was when I stopped. At the time, I was, I believe it's like a triangle. You're physical, emotional, and mental. If one of these 3 things doesn't work well, it affects your performance, And for me, I had problem like mental and physical. I was tired. I was drained. Carrying a title, it's a lot of weight on your shoulder. People, they don't realize there's only a few people that can understand that. It's hard to be champion. It's even harder to stay champion. Believe me on that. And I had a lot of pressure. I was, the problem with the performance enhancing drug at the time. So I was just tired. I felt I felt a little bit like claustrophobic, so to speak. And the time I took off was very good. Things has improved a lot in the sport. And now I feel I'm in my prime, so I don't want to waste my prime. I love the sport, and I want to go back and make history.
Now, George, one of the things that I've been thinking about this, you fighting at middleweight, and I don't remember who exactly I can't quote exactly who said it, but I believe it was when you were working at Jackson's and you were sparring with a lot of middleweights. As far as with the feet the floor, like, John Danaher says you're an expert at the shoot box. Does that give you confidence that you worked with a lot of bigger dudes and maybe you feel confident putting them down? Like you had good sparring sessions with a lot of respected middleweights?
Yeah, I spar with middleweight. I spar with light heavyweight too. I even spar with heavyweight sometimes. But the thing is, at the time we were doing it, I don't believe if the guy are heavier, they're better. I don't believe that. The only thing why we don't do it so often is because some freak accident can happen when you slip because the weight of difference. Doesn't mean the guys are better. They might hit harder. They might have more weight, carry more weight. It's an advantage, but doesn't mean they're better. And I was doing very well. The problem is just the injuries. It could have the chance of injuries, especially during practice, because if you fight a middleweight or a bigger guy, you need to spar with a bigger guy to recreate the same environment. That's why I was not very a big fan of doing it. But now is the perfect timing to do it. I have time to gain a little bit of weight as much as I can, yeah, we'll see what's gonna happen. I'm very confident.
And George, how many fights do you have? Are you contracted for?
4 fights.
4 fights. Okay.
Nice.
Yes.
And do you plan on staying at middle? No, I know obviously it depends on what happens against Bisping, but are you planning on staying at middleweight, or has the thought of going back down to welterweight at some point occurred to you?
Look, I'm going to tell you the truth. It depends what happened, and it depends on how it's going to happen. If I feel great at middleweight, maybe I stay there. If I feel, man, I'm missing, it's not good, I don't feel good, maybe I go down, maybe there's 3 weight class I can fight at. I'm not lying to you. I'm not a big welterweight. I'm a normal size welterweight. I walk around 185, between 185 and 190. Even some lightweight are bigger than me sometimes. And I feel I could do 155. I'm not a big fan of cutting weight. I think I always prioritize my health over my performance. And by the way, I believe the new weigh-in in the morning before the fight, I think it's a bad thing, because now guys, they see it as an opportunity to cut more weight. So I think it's a bad thing. I told Dana when I saw him, I don't see it as a good thing. Wow. But anyway, I think they have to change it, because one day someone will die. One day someone will die. It will affect all of us. It's very bad for your health. Should learn maybe from boxing, maybe do a weigh-in the month before, do a weigh-in the day before and the day of the fight, so you have a certain percentage of your mass that you cannot have, and lose. So everybody will be on point, and there will not be any discrepancy of, is he a lightweight, a middleweight, or you will fight at your weight. You know what I mean?
Oh, you mean so have a 1 month out one, so again, somebody can't have to, be 30 pounds over and have to cut that right before the fight if they have to weigh in a month prior.
Absolutely. It makes a big difference, and I believe it's been done. It's been done in boxing before, and I think it should be done in MMA, because one day someone will die. I mean, it's sad to say, but it's very bad. It's dangerous. It's very dangerous, and then long term, it's very bad for your body.
Well, look what happened with Khabib this weekend. I mean, that was a bummer, man. I was really looking forward to that fight with Khabib, and that weight cut hit him hard. So that's a bummer.
And also, if you do it with this way, with a weigh-in the month before the fight, guys won't be able to they will be more regulated. They won't be able to miss weight all the time, because they're gonna have to fight at their own weight class. You know what I mean? I think it would be a good initiative, but it's. Who am I? I'm the only one who think that. Maybe there's other guys. If I'm the only one to talk loud about it, I think it's never going to happen.
Well, George, you said about a month. When they weigh in a month before, I don't know, do they have to be at fighting weight, or do they have to be a certain amount of pounds over fighting weight? What's the rule on that when they weigh in a month before?
No, they have a percentage of your body mass that they're not allowed to pass. There's a certain, let's say you fight, for example, at 205, but you're not allowed to be, for example, to lose 20% of your body mass. You know what I mean? So there is a certain percentage. There is a critic percentage that it affect it could affect your well-being. It could be very dangerous. Okay. There's a certain percentage of dehydration in your body that is critical. That you can actually die if you're past that point, and it's very dangerous.
And for a long time, we heard about GSP Anderson Silva's super fight. Now that he's fighting at middleweight, is that still possible, or do you think the time for that is past?
Ooh. It is possible. The truth is this: and it's the truth. The only time I've been offered to fight Anderson Silva formally, like a real offer, was after my fight with Johnny Hendricks when I retired. But it's not because it was Anderson Silva. I would not have fought nobody. You would have fought a midget of 3 foot tall. I would not even fought him. I wouldn't want to fight. I was tired. I needed to take time off. There is talk. We talk about Anderson Silva many times with Lorenzo and Dana. And what I wanted to do at the time, it was a big lineup of contender in my division. And what I wanted to do, if I would have fought him at the time, because I had to defend my title too, I would have done in a catch weight, 177 with Vada, because USADA was not in place back then, and I wanted to do the Vada testing for a performance enhancing drug, but they didn't like. I think the UFC didn't really like the idea at the time. But then after I had to fight other guys, after I blew up my ACL, then a lot of guys were waiting for me to come back. Then I didn't have a time to stop. I didn't have the opportunity to.
Well, and George, how do you feel that USADA has done cleaning up the sport?
It's better than it was, but I believe USADA, the system of USADA, is made to catch guy on a long term, not on a short term. It's made to catch a guy on a long term. VADA, it's made to catch guy on a short term, not on a long term. You understand that?
Yeah. What's the difference?
Some system is made to catch a guy on the long term, like USADA, because the way they take the blood and so it's good too. It's just different system.
And what's the difference in the other testing that catches you on the short term? How do they do that?
The VADA, they're gonna test for certain things. It's like every sport demands different physicality. For example, if you're a guy that do Tour de France, like a bicycle, you're gonna use substance like EPO and stuff like that they're gonna test it for certain stuff. It's mandatory. For example, if you're a sprinter, you're gonna use some drug that's gonna increase your explosion, your reaction time. So in fighting, for instance, it's a lot of stuff for testosterone they use, the guy. We know it. It's not a secret. We know it. So we know that they're gonna test. It's mandatory that we can tell they're gonna test for testosterone and boosting for the testosterone for synthetic drug, certain synthetic drug. But USADA, you don't know. You don't know if they test for that, or you don't know if they test for weed or for cocaine. I personally don't care if my opponent smoke a joint before the fight. I hope he actually does, because it's gonna help me. I care if he takes testosterone, EPO and stuff like that. That's what I care about.
Now, let me ask you, George, are you going to be spending a lot of time in the city with John Danaher? How important is John Danaher going to be in this camp? Because that guy I call him the evil genius. He really is got a unique mind, and I know he plays such a role. Are you going to be here in the city a lot?
I call him Supreme Master.
The guy's brilliant.
Like in Star Wars.
Yes, exactly.
No, I'll be there like every month. I come very often, drilling, training with the squad.
Yes, definitely. Well, listen, I can't wait. We're going to have before the fight. When is the fight scheduled? Do we know?
Has it no dates been announced? No date. Right?
All right.
Are you looking towards maybe the summer? I'm guessing are they going to use that as the bigger?
I believe will be more after the summer. I believe will be more after the summer. Because I need to gain some weight. A lot of things I need to do through the USADA. A lot of stuff need to be done before. So I'm going to start right now a diet. I'm waiting to have the program. I'm going to try to gain as much weight as possible. I might be able to gain 5-10 pounds of muscle mass. We'll see. And so I want to make it right. It's a new turnaround for my career. I want to make it right. I want to make history. I'm planning to do it well. Fighting is not about who got the biggest balls. It's not about that. Sometimes it's about choice that you make in your life and things like that. It's not about who make the more noise. Fighting, if you want to be successful in this racket, you need to be smart and do the right choice at the right time.